Hey Facebook friends, as you would probably know, my hubby Joshua is a major foodie, and over the years that foodie love has transcended into the fact that we both love to cook and bake. So right now I am making banana bread. Yay! And I know right now we're all trying to find ways to make sure we make use of all of our food. So if you ever have any overripe bananas that you would normally throw out, to the point where they're all completely brown, instead of throwing them out, they are perfect for banana bread. And the reason why you like that moment when they're all deep, dark brown is because they end up being super soft and easy to mix, but also because the flavor is so strong. It's almost become kind of a little bit of alcohol almost. Not to the point they're rotting, but where they're just really, really strong. That ends up making fabulous banana bread. So, as I was texting rather, with my friend Avner tonight, one of the things that we were talking about was, just the experimentation. As I was mentioning to him, about 90% of our experimentations work, and about 10% are horrendous, big accidents. But it's through being willing to do all that experimentation that you find something that actually ends up working really well. So, right now, this is me. You're not supposed to overwork the dough for a banana bread, but so I find kind of my spoon, my spatula here, that by doing it this way, I very slowly end up kind of getting the dough to where I want. But today I'm going to do something really, really strange, and this will be one of those experimentations. And I'm posting this for Avner, who was laughing at my statement that we like to experiment, because you'll get to see one of these experiments, and I will do it now, and then I'll show you guys later how it actually ended up looking. So you can get a glimpse of our kitchen back in here. That is by Octavia Ocampo right there. Not beautiful? Anyway, so what I'm going to be adding is this. A lot of you, like me, do not want to support palm oil, but I admit I love Nutella. So this is, in my opinion, the best absolute replacement for Nutella anywhere. It is absolutely delicious. This has been in the fridge a bit, so it's not going to be as soft as it normally would be. So what I'm doing is I'm getting whole bunches of that. Isn't that delicious looking? Yeah. Just want to go. But what I'm doing with it is putting, and I've never seen a banana bread with this before, but I've already added 1/4 a teaspoon of just pure cacao into this. And now I'm putting little globs of this Nutella-like, but without palm oil. Again, this is, I don't know how to even say this. Those of you that are Italian can probably, nocelata. I'll pull this up again so you guys can see it. Nocelata. So anyway, I'm putting whole globs of that in here and little clumps, so that when this banana bread is done and people start eating it, there will be random little parts of it where they're going to run into these little clumps of this delicious stuff. And if any of you, like, I was brought up with my mom absolutely loving Elvis, and she raised me to love peanut butter and banana sandwiches. Then as I got older, one of the things I used to love doing was shakes with peanut butter, banana, and chocolate sometimes. So I knew these combinations work really well. Obviously, this is hazelnut spread, not peanut butter spread. But so I'm going to hold this over here so you guys can see kind of the idea. So you can see how these things are just kind of being thrown in there. So anyway, get a glimpse of what's happening. And obviously that thing just fell right over. So, obviously this is me keeping it real, because there is not anything really fancy going on here. But anyway, so we will see how this turns out. Hopefully, if all goes well, this stuff will just kind of blend in. If it had been soft, I would have swirled it. I did look at something else that was, that looked more able to swirl, but it just didn't taste right. So anyway, but I think this brand will be really good. So, it is swirling. It's swirling. So, I don't want to blend it perfectly. I want a swirl. So for those of you that are wondering how to do that, I know some of you are much better bakers than I am. I am literally putting these things in here like this, and then I am literally turning them around like that. It's almost kind of like cutting through the dough. So the end result will hopefully be these nice, big, broad, chocolatey kind of swirls. We will see if this works out. I hope. Anyway, I will be putting this in their little ramekins, and then I will show you the result later. Bye. So I felt like it needed a little more of that stuff, so I went ahead and added a little more at the top. So you can kind of see I swirled it all in, just did a second run of that. And now all these little ramekins will eventually hopefully be loaves of delicious banana bread with this Nutella-like substance in it, all swirled in. Yummy! So hopefully we'll enjoy them. I wish you could smell this. It's so divine in here. One of the best things about baking bread is the whole house smells like it. See. Whew. This is not done yet, but apparently after you have it done to a certain extent, you're supposed to take it out and put tinfoil over it and then put it in for another 3 minutes. So you can see how they're coming along, and you can see all that beautiful Nutella-like stuff in the middle of it. Again, we're not using Nutella, we're using something else. And for those of you that didn't watch earlier, I'm just going to emphasize this because it's important. We don't want to end up doing something with palm oil because we know that destroys Borneo, and we want the orangutans to have a home. So again, this is what I'm using. It is absolutely delicious. So anytime you've ever had something that you love Nutella in, like a crepe or something, and you just really want to enjoy that flavor without a side of guilt, do look this stuff up. It is so good. There's other brands of things that are doing it as well. Well, I'll show you this one, but to be honest, this didn't taste good to me at all. So I definitely would stick with the other stuff. But you can see how swirling it in ended up looking really, really pretty. And so when you cut it, if any of you have ever had cinnamon bread, and you'll see that kind of swirl of cinnamon, same kind of idea. So anyway, end up putting tinfoil on top of this thing, and that's basically the only reason for doing this is to prevent the tops from getting too baked. We don't want that to end up hurting the whole thing. Anyway, and then another 30 minutes. This here, and I should probably use this because this thing is hot. It's very, very hot. The house smells so good. One for my hubby, me, one for my mom, and I'm decided who that third one should go to. But in for another 30 minutes, and meanwhile, that aroma just fills the house up. If you want something to really smell good, you know, and trying to lift the spirits, there's nothing that lifts the spirits like the smell of something baking, especially if it is a deliciously sweet bread. Just absolutely love it. But again, it's probably in my DNA because I'm all about grain. So while that is baking, I'm going to show you something really cool. I have not baked with this yet, but this is from the Maya nut tree. And you can see there are two different things to, you can get a light batter or you can get a dark batter. And those of you that are gluten intolerant, FYI, these are a delicious, absolutely delicious kind of flour that you can bake with. It also has every kind of nutritional thing you can think of, and it's one of the reasons why the Maya weren't killed all the way off after the Spaniards came and tried to cut off from a lot of stuff. And they also make a version of it that basically is kind of coffee-like, that you can drink. So anyway, just a little FYI about stuff that's out there. It is amazing what's out there. But the important thing to remember is that, you know, everything in our world is medicine. So I'm sure some of you have seen, you know, honeycomb kind of stuff like this. But the things that you can make with it that are actually topical, help the skin, help heal. The kitchen is like a lot of people say, a kitchen witch. I feel like a kitchen witch. A lot of the best recipes to me are basically when you're praying or you're thinking about something like that and you're just pouring all that love into it. Some of you have seen like Water for Chocolate, or one of my absolute favorite movies, Chocolate. But all separate from like Water from Chocolate, the movie Chocolate. But the idea that in flavors, we have emotion, we have memory, we have a way to touch the soul. And for me, being able to cook and put all that emotion into it for someone that we love, that is pure alchemy right from the heart. And when you work with recipes and pass down through your family, it ends up being even more special. So anyway, just wanted to share some thoughts with you guys, and soon we'll get some of that banana bread and I'll announce who's going to get that third loaf. Alrighty, this should be ready now, and let's see how it goes. Oh my goodness, I feel like I just jumped into a big pile of bananas. Oh, that's good. They look done. So, of course, the trick is always this part. You have to stick a thing in there and pray that it actually ends up being right. So, do that. Yay! And no dough came off. Only a little bit of that Nutella substance. So these are all ready. So if you want to take a look, you can see how beautiful they are. I think I've decided who is going to get this third loaf of banana bread. It is going to be Avner. It's because he and I were texting so much about my baking banana bread. So, Avner, I am buying one of your meals for Joshua and me on Tuesday as well, for a number of friends. And when you come over and you bring our food, I will have a loaf of banana bread for you, unless you want to PM me and give me your address, and I'll be happy to drive over and drop it off. Although I've been told the banana bread is often better the day after it's been baked. I don't know why. For some reason it is. But anyway, it's these subtle. I was going to show you guys something else. Those of you that want to know where the love of cooking and baking and stuff came from. In my family, it all began with my granddad, my grandmother, Mama T. There's a funny story, hilarious story in the family in which they say, oh, let me turn this oven off. Anyway, in which they say she was asked to cook and she hated cooking. And apparently my grandfather called up and said, hey, have a meal ready for 12 people. We're going to have a big thing. It's a big business dinner. Make sure it's ready. And my grandmother wasn't too happy about being asked at the last minute to do this and feeling very taken advantage of. So she decided she was going to make a point of it. And so she set this beautiful place setting, all the china. Those of you that have been over my house recognize that ivy pattern, you know, the fine silver and everything. And then when she brought out the big silver plate and lifted off the tin, there is a rabbit. Its 4 legs in the air and its ears all the way up, just dead. And apparently my grandfather never asked her to cook again. Although she did do it occasionally. Anyway, but he had a major love affair. So he actually wrote a cookbook. So you can see how thick this is. It is a bilingual cookbook. It says Dining with the Thompsons. The original thing was Dining with the Murkisons, and hence why I was adopted, because when the polio epidemic was going around here, the Murkison family invited my grandparents to escape it with some of their children by going down to a place they had in Mexico City, and my grandparents fell in love in Mexico. So a lot of this you'll see Welsh for a bit, and then you'll see mole. And the amazing thing is my grandfather cooked every single recipe in this book. So that's where the love of it came from. And apparently some of the boys ended up hanging around and learning from him. So the big chef in our family is my Uncle Jerry, who actually has studied in New Orleans, in France, in Italy, and is truly amazing chef. He used to, before our family got so big, he would like bake like 7 pies and would cook all these dishes, and it was incredible. He is still very famous in our family for making these mushrooms that his part of the family gets to enjoy, and the rest of us, it was so delicious. But my dad also was kind of a hidden cook, and now that he's passed away, forgive me, Dad, I can say this. He had made me promise never to mention it, but now there's no danger. But one year we were in Colorado. My mom didn't want to go, and so it was just Joshua and Dad and me, and he wanted for Christmas, he wanted a big meal, and I was supposed to cook it, and then I got a migraine, so I was out. I was just in horrible pain and sick all day long, and everyone knew if I was going to be able to join for dinner, it would be really late that night. So Dad took all the ingredients and he just did it from memory, and he made this incredible pork roast and took all the drippings from that and made these cheese grits, and took other drippings and made biscuits, and he just did it out of his head, and it was kind of the Depression era food. So growing up, that's kind of how I grew up, which was a mixture of kind of Southern soul food from Texas and South Carolina, because my mom's South Carolina. She's the one who talks like this. So if anyone ever even knew her, you would know that she talks like this, honey child. And that's exactly my mom. But she is an amazing cook, and I grew up getting to eat that way. It's amazing I didn't blow up like a balloon, but she was such an incredible cook. And of course my dad was, but he told me, never tell your mom that I cook, or she'll ask me to do this all the time. So now that he's with God, I can tell you he was an amazing cook. It was his hidden secret, and Josh and I got to enjoy it. But you know, through the family, we just love it. And with Josh, he loves to cook, and I think a lot of that comes from his mom, Vicky, who is fabulous at it, and his dad, Don, who just loves food. He's a fantastic person to travel with. We've gone to Paris with him, London with him, Rwanda with him, Tanzania with him, and it didn't matter how bizarre or weird it was, he ate it and liked it more than the rest of us. So Joshua inherited his incredible wide palate and his mom's incredible creative ability in the kitchen, so I get to benefit from it. So I'll be uploading something that he created recently up here for you guys as well. So anyway, this is smelling delicious, and Avner, when you stop by, you'll get your loaf of banana bread with a little bit of hazelnut chocolate spread swirled in. Love you guys, and I will post the recipe underneath this thing, as well as the little changes that I made to it. So talk to you guys later, and hope you all are spending a wonderful Sunday with it's all stormy and everything, and I know so many of us are depressed. But remember, we get to choose how to make magic in our own lives. We can choose, if we're bored, well then sing a song, write a story, read a book. You know, if you need to, dance like a maniac. If you feel like you need to touch with other people, do what I'm doing, make a video. Exchange, have conversation this way. Doing some of this baking, I was actually talking to Alan half the time on speakerphone. It was incredible. Only reason why he's not getting the loaf of banana bread is he lives with a baker. But anyway, you know, there's so much we can be doing to make our lives magical, even though we're stuck. So instead of thinking of being stuck at home, think about what is the creativity that you want to bring in. So many of us had a project, had an idea, like, oh, if I ever had a chance, I'd get around, I'd do that. Well, then get around to it. Now's your opportunity. God's put a big pause button on everything, and we have this opportunity to go, what can we think about? What can we create? And it doesn't always have to be food or an art project or writing or something. It could just be creating some magical moments with someone you love. And if you're one of these people that's completely siloed and quarantined all by yourself, then get on FaceTime, get on Zoom, get on Skype, and have those moments with people. You know, plan on both ordering takeout from the same place and talking while you're both talking, you know, talk with each other. Have dinner virtually that way with each other. There's so much we can do for each other, and it's up to us. Do we want to invite the magic in? And maybe that's kind of spiritually what we're being asked to do right now. Or we're being asked, can you enjoy your own presence? Can you enjoy being with you in spirit and with wherever inspiration takes you in that? So if you're Monica Blossom and just dancing like crazy to that greatest new techno thing that's out there, or if you're somebody that's feeling a deep, deep, beautiful, emotional thing with one of these singers that's putting their live stuff out there, or they're an opera singer, or whatever, or whether you're somebody who's like Neil, who's giving people a beautiful sermon, or whatever it is you can do, put your soul out there. This is your chance. This is your opportunity to create something. So anyway, one last glance at this beautiful banana bread, and hopefully, I wish I could give you guys a whiff of just how incredible this is. But I love you, and I know whatever you guys are doing in the world, it's going to be magical. Almost forgot to tell you guys the most important thing about baking or cooking or anything that you're doing in the kitchen is to make sure that you're giving it to someone you love. So this one is obviously going to my hubby, the most wonderful hubby in the world, and to my mom, and to Avner and Yasmin. So love you all and hope you enjoy.